books are the way the dead communicate with us. The way that what we learn from those who are no longer with us is what has made knowledge incremental, rather than something that has to be learned over and over again. And therein lies the true magic of storytelling. Storytelling, I'm going to talk a little more today about visual storytelling. So this slightly long phrase can be easily broken down into 3 parts: story, telling, visuals. So first, let's get to what are stories. Stories are everything that define what we do in life. They help us think, act, and also help us behave in society. To give you a very textbook definition of what stories are, they're basically a character in a conflict. It's as simple as that. And to give you an example, let me tell you, an anxious father who travels across the ocean to look for his lost son with the help of someone forgetful is the story of a very popular film called Finding Nemo. Now, this fish, his father, is Marlin, who's got Dory to help him out, and they're looking for Nemo. Now, all of these are fish. These are your characters. Now, while the film also has other smaller situations like Nemo getting caught up in a fish tank and him trying to escape from there, the primary conflict or plot is this father trying to look for his son. Now, let me mess this up a bit for you guys. Imagine if Marlin was a sailor. Imagine if Marlin was a human being looking for his human son Nemo, who was lost during a sea voyage, and Dory was his mate on deck who was helping him do that. I changed just one little thing, but the story and the characters and the conflict did not change. But changing that one thing, which is the species, had a domino effect and a lot of other variables changed. Just to give you an example, instead of Nemo, I mean, obviously he can't get caught up in a fish tank now, but can get caught up in bad company and can try to escape from that. What we were essentially busy doing here was telling. The telling of a story matters perhaps sometimes even more than the story itself. It is essentially, I mean, a story can be anything, told several times by several people in several occasions, across timelines, time zones, and by different generations. But the telling is what makes this really unique. I woke up today morning and went to school. Worst is, it was a beautiful sunny morning. I woke up after an 8-hour-long sleep, had a full breakfast, wore my best shoes, and walked into school like a boss. Now, which of the two sounded more interesting? In this case, the teller matters as much as the telling. Because the teller is essentially trying to reflect upon their politics, their philosophy, and also sometimes their psychology. So essentially how they behave in society, what they think, and how they conduct themselves in a small group of people. These are essentially, tellings are essentially reflections of what people have had, experiences from their past, or reflecting upon others' reflections. I had my own. In 2012, I made my first film, directed my first film. I was 23 and I had some savings. And I decided to do something really outlandish. I mean, this is the definition of what you don't do as your first film. It was about a young widow in 1905 Maharashtra. Let's watch an excerpt from the film before we get into what visual storytelling is about.
मी आपणास बघत आलो आहे. नटायची भलतीच हौस आहे आपल्याला.
होय. तसे माझ्या काकूने सांगितले होते मला निघण्यापूर्वी. एका सौभाग्यवतीचे खरे भाग्य म्हणजे तिचा शृंगार. तिच्या शृंगारातून तिचे सौभाग्य दिसणे खूप गरजेचे आहे.
पण मला आपल्या मनाचे सौंदर्य अधिक गमले. आपण सौभाग्यवती असाल तरी मुख्यतः एक स्त्री आहात. पुरुषाच्या भूमिका ह्या मर्यादितच असतात. परंतु स्त्रीस एक माता, एक आई होण्याचे भाग्य लाभलेले आहे. आणि ती गोष्ट मी सर्वाधिक मोठी मानतो.
अय्या, एका स्त्रीचे सौंदर्य किती वेगळ्या दृष्टीने मांडले आपण. आणि तेही तिच्या शृंगाराविषयी न बोलता.
चला निघायला हवे आता. घरी परत पोहोचून मुक्काम पुण्यास हलवायचा तातडीने.
श्रीरंगाच्या धरणीवरती गात होती एक सांजवेळ. रंग बहरून आली रात्र, माझ्या घरी दिव्यांचा खेळ. एक अनोळखी ती रात्र, येता येता जेव्हा आली, स्वप्नांना विसरून मी त्या रात्रीत वाहत गेली. मी माझी त्या रात्रीत हरवून गेले इथे तिथे. आली प्रभात मला शोधित, पण मी तर नव्हतेच कुठे. माझ्या जीवनाची ही एक रात्र, झालेच माझे जीवन. जगता जगता कळले नाही, आला आयुष्यात मधुसूदन.
तसेही श्रावण सुरू झालंय. भाद्रपद सुरू व्हायच्या आधीच सगळे उरकणे योग्य राहील. तुला काय वाटते?
बरोबर आहे.
हो, आणि तसे मी ह्यांच्याशीही बोलून ठेवले. आलीच का ग लतिके? घे जराशी निधारास वाढायला घे, माझे अजून आवरायचे.
लतिका, श्रीधर,
काय झाले?
हरी, हरी.
So the first thing was looking for the right ambience. It had to really look right. And for that, we spent over a month looking for the right haveli, or as in Marathi we call vada. It was a blank space, like you can see on the left-hand side. And we had to really do it up from scratch. So we painted the walls, we added all the props, and we really tried to create the era through what we were doing. To just give you an example, this is a mandir room. So this was a blank space. It had gray walls. We added the red to the walls. We added a little bit of those scratches and those little patches on the walls to make it look like it's being lived in and used every day. Everything from the lamps to everything that you see in the frame was added by us. Another example is this setup. So if you see this, you'll notice that this was basically the backside of the Haveli. This isn't a real mandir. So what we did is we added everything from that thread that's wrapped around the tree, to the flowers on the stairs, to the people walking around, everything was added by us. As a director, what I really wanted to go in for was authenticity. It had to really look authentic. And for it to look authentic, the actors, the casting had to be done in the right manner. The actors had to be very comfortable in what they were saying, what they were doing, and how they were conducting themselves, how they were wearing their costumes. All the saris, all the dhotis were manually draped, nothing was ready-made, nothing was stitched, and nothing was pinned up. So, and more importantly, all the jewelry is real. So everything had to really look and feel authentic. Now, let me back up a little bit. When we started talking about Pradosh, we started talking about 1905, Maharashtra, and Young Widow. The moment I used these three words, each one of you had your own version of a Young Widow, your own version of 1905, and your own version of Maharashtra. But the moment you saw the excerpt from the film, you did not, all you saw was this young widow, this 1905, and this Maharashtra. Essentially, when we do this, and especially in cinema, because cinema is an audio-visual medium, the props, the costumes, the actors, the location, all of these form your basis for visual storytelling. This is, of course, the first thing. The second layer that we add is the audio layer. For instance, in the mandir scene, you could hear chanting, you could hear cows mooing, you could hear people talking. All of this was added to really make the space look more real, or feel more real than it actually was. Another element was that Latika, the lead character, has a lot of love and affection for jewelry. So we really wanted you, the audience, to hear the jewelry and not just see it. So what we did is in sound, we accentuated the sound of her jewelry, because for the rest of the film, you're not going to hear it. You're going to hear silence coming out of her. So that was something that we did as storytellers. And basically, that's what visual storytelling is. It's creating the exact interpretation that's in your mind. It's a little tough, but that's what I love about it. And that's what inspired me to go ahead and tell stories. Manifesting what you have in your head onto screen is another kind of excitement that I can't describe. But all of this doesn't really make any sense if there is no emotion attached to what we're showing you. No matter how authentic, how beautiful the visuals are, if they're bereft of emotions, then they don't really make sense. What the audience feels is more important, or as important, as what the visual is. And that's what storytellers do, right from cave paintings to comic books. In comics, you have those little square panels, and each square panel takes the story forward, one panel at a time. In paintings, you have that one moment frozen on the canvas, wherein each action, each gesture, each element, each prop is what is making you look into the painter's mind. In films, it's the shot. A collection of shots makes a scene, and a collection of scenes makes a film. All of you all are filmmakers. All of us are visual storytellers. Each time you click a picture, each time you decorate your house for festivities, like some of you all must have done in the past month, you are visually expressing yourself. So next time you upload a reel or post a picture on Instagram, remember that you're telling a story. Your story. Thank you.